Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. I'm here with the little Pappy. What's going on, brother?
Not a lot. It's a pleasure to be in the studio.
Mate, you're here. You're here in the multi-million-dollar facility that is Bloke in a Bar's headquarters.
Yes. Lovely spot in Sydney.
How's it been, bros? How's the off-season? Like, how's the, I was speaking to Nathan earlier, and like, this year was like a whirlwind.
Yeah, the come down.
Oh, yeah, exactly. How has it come down from the whole thing?
It's been good. I think while you're sort of caught up in it all, it just feels like a job. It sort of feels like you're just in it, and it's just what's expected. But I think coming back to Sydney, where my family are and all my friends are, that's probably the part that made me feel like I'd actually achieved a fair bit this year. They just make you grounded. They make you realise that it's a massive achievement what you've done, and it's just good to come back, and I get a pretty good break now. So it's always good to come back to Sydney and see everyone. But I guess coming back as soon as I did, it was good for me because I could just sort of appreciate what I'd done.
Absolutely, and it's like it's this double-edged sword because like when you're in it, you don't want the gravity of the situation to affect people. Like you don't want to be like, holy shit, boys, we're playing the grand final, because everyone's like, shit, we're playing the grand final. Yeah. But at the same time, you do miss the moment sometimes because it's like a job. Like we've got a job to do.
Yeah, it's funny. Like listen to I did a couple of little podcasts before finals and everything, and it just feels so normal to talk about it and be amongst it. But I sort of think back now, and I say during the time, like, yeah, I'm excited. Like, it's a childhood dream to be able to be in the grand final, but it's not actually until after it that I look back and go, yeah, like this is real. Like, I've actually done that. Yeah. But I guess I look at it in a good way because you don't want to get caught up in it. You don't want to let it get to you before a game and whatnot. So
bloody oath. Yeah. So, like this year for you, it's just gone leaps and bounds. Did you think? Obviously, you didn't think that it would go this. Did you have any inkling?
No, not really. There was one stage of the year we didn't even think the season would go ahead, to be honest.
True.
So probably took my mind off footy for a little bit, and then literally took Billy Slater to give me a call and say, mate, let's just do something during this COVID period. Like, who knows, like people probably using it as a rest. Let's do something. And I guess that little period gave me a bit of confidence for the back end of the year that, you know what, I'm gonna do something here. I've done something with Bill. Had in the back of my mind that no one else had done something. So it just gave me a bit of confidence going into that little part. And then, just enjoyed my footy week in, week out. And we were playing really good. And it just sort of built as well. Like every game sort of felt like we were getting better, getting to the mark. And then through the finals, it just went bang, bang, bang. Our best first half we played all year.
Yeah.
And
So Billy called you and said basically like, a lot of people won't be training right now. This is a chance to progress while other people aren't progressing.
Yeah, so he was sending me videos on WhatsApp of like drills to do because I was I think I was back in Sydney, or we were in lockdown or something like that. And he was actually sending me videos on WhatsApp. He was going down to the park with his son. Yeah. And like doing these drills, he's like, I reckon you should probably do some of these. And then once the restrictions eased a little, he's like, all right, let's go down. Let's do some work. And so he pretty much kicked me up the backside and said, let's do something.
It's just like, what an incredible human being, for one. Like, he doesn't have to send that stuff to you. He doesn't have to, try to make you the best you can be. Yeah. And so you got down there, were you just doing speed drills or? Yeah,
speed drills, just like catching with tennis balls, a lot of passing. I think that's something I really wanted to improve this year was my passing. I think there was copped a bit last year for just being a runner, and that's all I had. And I don't know, I sort of took a bit of just motivation out of that to improve my passing. And he was a big motivation behind it as well. Was just he knew the right drills. We were doing them every day. I was doing them with a tennis ball in my living room. Like he just gave me these things to work on, and just so.
Do you ever pinch yourself and you're like, this is the GOAT fullback?
Yeah,
messaging me. Help me out.
Well, when I speak to people about it, especially guys who aren't in the footy scene, they're just like, can you believe it? And I was like, once again, it's sort of similar to the whole, once you're in it, it just feels like a normal job. But like now reflecting on it, you wouldn't get that too often at many other clubs.
Oh, mate, it's incredible. I mean, I just think it's an amazing show of his commitment to the club too, to like, you're the next fullback in line. He wants the legacy to continue of these great fullbacks, and then he messages you in break, like lockdown, like he's got his own stuff he's got to worry about. Okay, so you do that, and so you really felt that propelled you and gave you confidence going into the end of the season.
Yeah, well, I think there was a few games, the games that we started back, I sort of felt a difference going into a game. Like,
oh, really?
I'd be in the sheds and I'd always practice passing before we went out, but I thought, like, God, like I've
feel smooth here.
Rhythm, got something going here.
And
then I think I put a few tries together, had a lot of try assists, and I was like, how good's this? You know what I mean? Keep practicing it. Like, you don't want to just be known for those couple of games. So it sort of became a big part of my routine, those drills, and also not forgetting I got a running game. And then thinking how other defenses would think, like, God, if he can pass and run, what do we do?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And just knowing that there's a bit of doubt in a defensive line gave me that extra bit of confidence. And I guess once you have a couple of good games, you sort of feel like you build momentum, and that's just how this year went.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Like, when you're in it, it's kind of like you've got this metaphorical tailwind, and like everything is just propelling you towards the best you can be.
Yeah.
But you can't explain it. It's just happening.
And I guess you sort of think back at everything before that, like 3 pre-seasons before, where you're doing these running drills, and I had bad hammies when I came to the club, and all that work, that's contributed as well. So it's just like, this piece of the puzzle, this piece, Bill's giving me this piece.
Yeah.
Here we go. Like, this is what I want to be. This is the player I want it to be. Like, and it just becomes really enjoyable and part of your routine, and you just don't want to go away from what you're doing. It's just, this is working, let's do it. And what can I improve on? Well, now it's a thought, what can I improve on for next season?
Yeah. Okay, so you guys, I spoke to Cam earlier this week, and I said to him that I really felt like probably like round 15, it kind of clicked for you all. Like, it seemed like Cam knew what he wanted to do. You knew where you needed to be. Munster was playing some really good footy. Was that a feeling within the team as well?
Yeah, it was a certain moment. It just felt easy. It just felt like we knew our role. I think we might have changed something in our attacking structure, but it was just a little moment that went click, and then Hughesy knew what he was doing, Munster knew what he was doing. I was off the back of that. Smithy was getting out. Our ruckies were going onto it. Like, it just all tied in together, and it was just more about lapses in games where we could have done that better. If we're fatigued, just trying to tie it all in and making sure that we're still doing that, still talk. Like, that was probably the main thing this year, was just talking. Make sure you're aware. And at first it was weird because we didn't have any crowd.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, because we'd worked on the communication at the start, it just came natural. And in those bigger games, it just flowed. And there was definitely a feeling between us spine this year that was going to work.
Mate, it was pretty impressive to watch. I actually tipped yous a quite dominant win. I thought you were going to win quite convincingly in the grand final, because I'd been watching every single game, and don't get me wrong, the Panthers were like fantastic this year, like fantastic, but you guys actually had quite a few people that had already won a grand final. You know, you had Munster, Carr, Sully, Smith, Bromwich Brothers. I think it was Nelson 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of experience and carers, and then you also had in the players that hadn't won a grand final were in career best form. Olin was in career best form. You were in career best form.
Yeah.
And so it's just like everything was clicking for you.
Yeah, it did click well, and I guess that's what I remember putting my hand up in one of the meetings and just said, I'm confident. We've got finals experience, and that makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
And then everyone just sort of then look at, like, we've got so many games of finals experience in our side, and then I guess we had our most experienced stand up during one of our meetings we had, and they spoke about like what to do, like keeping routines, and I think that just fed through the group, and it was just like all about doing what we've been doing now and just putting it together, and then the finals just felt like we just built, and yeah.
So you get to the Canberra game, and you play incredible. Was that? I mean, that would have you would have felt like, fuck, we are on here. We are on. Is that what did it feel like against Canberra?
Yeah, well, I think, we love playing at Suncorp. I don't know what it is, but once we found out we got a final at Suncorp against Canberra, who we've had a bit of trouble with in the past, it was just like, look at it. Like, we've got Canberra at Suncorp. This is our home ground at the moment. Like, let's just take full advantage of it. And that game just clicked. Like, we just all knew what we were doing. And then, Yeah, I don't know. It was just something in that period. I also think maybe because we were getting to the end of being out of a bubble, that excitement sort of builds up, and
so true.
we've only got 3 games, 2 games, and each week we'd sort of find out, all right, if we lose this week, we're leaving on this date. If we make it to the grand final, we're leaving on this date. Let's make it that date.
Yeah. Okay.
And it just was really exciting feeling. And
there's like light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's what happened on grand final night.
Yep.
This is the last game we got, boys. Like, how good would this be? How good of a story? Like, we've been away from home for 210 days. Let's make something of it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, so grand final week rolls around, and it was actually a relatively quiet one because of COVID and that. Do you remember, you rock up to the ground, what's the kind of memory, what are you feeling? What's the feeling among the boys?
Yeah, so I probably started the day before for me. We all sat and watched the AFL grand final.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was raining all night, and we just had a good time. Everyone was relaxed and chilled out. And I remember waking up the next day. The morning was a bit of a blur, but walking down the stairs of the Novotel and then onto the bus. And I remember we had to go the long way because the roads were all blocked off. But I remember sort of getting on the bus and just like getting real emotional and starting to tear up a little bit. Yeah. And just thinking, like, this is like everything. You know what I mean? You don't get to win. Like, you hear so many people say you can be in the NRL for so many years and not win a premiership.
Absolutely.
And I'm just thinking, I'm here. I'm in my second year of first grade.
Yeah.
I've dreamt for this moment forever. Like, could this be it? And it's just like, I think I was emotional because it was there, but I was also the unknown. You don't know. Like, that's, I don't get too nervous before a game, but there's always just the unknown. Like, what's going to happen? And
this could either be glory or devastation.
Yeah. And you just don't know if you're going to get another chance. And I was just real emotional, rocked up to the ground. As soon as you get in there, just the adrenaline starts to build up, and you sort of got to bring yourself back down because there's still an hour and a half till you're out there.
And you're looking at the clock going, fuck, just get me out kicking. I just want to get out kicking, catching.
Yeah, and you just, I don't know, it's just it was quiet. It was really quiet, the change rooms. But I think our best games were quiet. Yeah, they were really, really quiet sort of warm-ups. Like, there'd be a couple of people talking, but you just knew.
Everyone's zoned in.
Everyone had their blinkers on. It was game on sort of thing. And
comparing yourself to Penrith were really amped up.
Yeah.
And it was like chalk and cheese. Like, you guys were very, very calm, almost not nervous, but a positive nervous energy. Like, we got a big job here. We got a big job.
And I guess the start probably benefited them too. Like, they kicked off, we dropped it, they got the ball. Yeah. But Craig sort of got this big saying, like, he reckons in games if you make a mistake early and defend it, it goes a long way for the next 80 minutes. And I think it did in that game, especially. I think we defended 3 sets in a row in the first 5 minutes. And after that, we just went bang. We just appreciated having the ball in our hands.
Yep.
Our forwards knew what to do. Like I said, last game of the year, you just find that little extra bit of motivation and just all tied together. And I didn't expect for the game to start like that.
Yeah.
But you just want to ride the wave of it. And then the second half was a bit of a different story. But
I mean, it started off well. It started off
good. And the message from us at halftime was score first. Like, that was it.
Okay.
And speaking of the Penrith boys, that was their message as well. It was score first. So,
but how for you personally, like, your first half was solid, but it was a tough first half for you. You took a lot of carries where it was aggressive defense. It looked like they had a job to do on you. Were you feeling like, look, I've just got to persist here? Because even your try that you scored, you'd actually ran that line quite a few times in the first half and dropped a few players under.
Yeah.
Was that a planned thing or a weakness that you'd seen?
I think we'd done it a couple of times during the year, and if you're not going to check Nelson, then I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just remember thinking, if I can try tie Nath up, if he draws in and whatever, I'll just give it to Nelson. But I sort of just remember, and I don't think he fully engaged to Nelson. I was like, I think I'm on his outside here. And then I just tucked the ball under my wing and was expecting Tyron May to jam me, but he didn't come in. And I just looked up and just seeing this just clear space in front of me. And I remember just getting through it. I'm like, God, who's chasing me? Crichton's pretty fast. Dill Edwards is pretty quick. And that's when you see me put my head down. I'm just like, just got to get there. And that was an unbelievable feeling. I love scoring tries. Tries, but that was just like, pretty sure I dove like 2 meters out, and like the ball just landed before the try line when I slid over. But
oh my god, could you imagine?
Just a memory where I just got up and it was just like pure elation. I was just like, oh, this is unbelievable. This is, yeah, you dream of winning premierships. Yeah, you dream of being in the grand final, but scoring a try in the grand final.
Yeah, individual one too.
Oh, it was just, it just made the whole night even better.
Is that the best try you've ever scored in your life in terms of like just that feeling of like, I can't believe this is happening?
Yeah, I think so. And probably more so looking back on it now. Like, it was a moment of a game where the next try is vital. And just, you dream that stuff to happen. Like, I remember playing like PlayStation Rugby League Live and scoring the try in the last minute, or a try that really broke a game apart, and just being like, oh, how good is this? And getting real like pumped up and that. But
bloody oath.
I was actually on the field, like
doing
I
it.
scored the try. Like,
it's crazy.
Still pinch myself.
I mean, it's just mental because like you're living. It's like you're in it, but you're also looking outside in, going like, if someone else was doing that, I'd be cheering them on, going, "Fuck, how good is that?"
Yeah.
It's incredible try. So, okay, so that the rest of that half rolls on. Was at any point you sitting there going, "Oh no"?
I know. I probably thought the opposite when, like, I know you shouldn't do this and it's cardinal sin to do it, but like when we were up 26-0, I think it was about 15 to go or something like that, and I thought,
"There's
like,
no way.
is this like it? Have we won?" And then that comeback started coming, and then that just got erased straight out of my mind. Like, it was nearly like, nah, it's not done. It's you're in it now. You're in it now. Like, especially when Cles scored that try, he ran over the top of me, and I was like, oh. But we trained for that. Like, we trained for situations where we got 11 players on the field, and all our conditioning games during the preseason are heavily stacked for the attacking side. So I think across the board, everyone was sort of like, we can do this. We've done this before. But it did get a little bit scary.
Mate. I mean, it was good in the sense that like it added drama. Obviously not good for you guys, but it added drama. Okay, so the match finishes, and do you remember was there anything said on the field, or do you remember any moment after the match finishes?
It's funny, like, looking at Nick Ennis's behind you there. Like, I obviously played a lot longer than I had, and premierships didn't come around until later in his career, but that's an emotion that hit me straight away. And
it's like,
I remember Felice grabbed that ball, and I remember just looking around, like, has the ref like blowing his whistle? Is this it? Looked up at the sky. I was like, have we just won a grand final? You know what I mean? And then I just remember like collapsing on, I think, maybe Munster, and just like, then Hughesy come over, and like we just hugged and embraced, and like I just started bawling my eyes out, and I was like I couldn't believe it. Like, I've always wanted to win a ring or a premiership, and like to do it in the circumstances we were this year just meant so much more. And I don't know, it just all hit me on the field at once that like, this is
a pent up emotion.
Oh, it was a crazy feeling, unbelievable feeling, and one that I'll never ever forget. Yeah,
mate, it was it's just an incredible win by you guys. Like, especially like you had so many detractors in the media talking absolute nonsense.
Don't get me started.
Oh my god!
It's funny. I screenshot. I don't like to look too much into it, but if I see something like a screenshot as a bit of motivation, and Phil Gould's one stands out for me, and Storm don't have another gear, and I just thought.
So when was that?
That would have been during the finals, I think.
During the finals, so you said Storm don't have another gear.
Yeah.
And so you screenshotted that, was like, all right.
Yeah, just
motivation.
kept in the memory bank. Just, we don't have another gear. It's
okay.
We'll show you that. And even some of the Panthers boys, I think, would post stuff, and I'd just be like, God, I'd just love to beat you guys. Like, you know what I mean? Just
like competitive edge.
Up and competitive edge. And I guess that's what gets me by. I'm a quote man sort of thing. And external stuff only adds to it. But it was just real motivated, and it just so happened to be that it came up against Penrith. And that whole week was, we can't lose this.
Mate, it's so true though. Like when you see the top team getting all the raps, any competitor is going to be like, I want to beat them so bad. Like, they're getting all the raps, but we are the fucking best side.
Yeah.
Any NRL player is going to say that and feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so was there anything said in the sheds after the grand final or anything like
that? Not really. It was a bit of a blur in the sheds afterwards.
With the goggles
for
on.
obvious reasons. That was a great celebration. You could just feel everyone. It was probably more relief that, you know, we've gotten to the end and we've done it. We had the goal we had at the start of the year was to just overcome and adapt to anything that was given to us or put in front of us, and to be able to achieve that and then celebrate it with everyone. And it was a great feeling. But Then had to go sort of do media for half hour and then come back, and it was just like we just sat around in a group, and we didn't really get a chance to I don't know, it's sort of weird to describe, because during the year when you get to have a little piss up, it always still feels like there's a goal to achieve.
Yeah.
But we had the trophy just standing in the middle of the circle, and we're all just sitting around having a beer, like looking at our rings, and like
it's kind of like there's no little monkey on your shoulder.
Nah.
That's like that you're thinking like, yes, I can enjoy this moment, but I still got a job to do. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That job is done.
Job's done.
Job's
just
done.
sit back, like how good, like just open chats around the room.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool to be a part of. And
was there any chat about Cam Smith between? I'm sure he probably tried to not make it about him, but was there any chat between you guys of like, this may be Cam Smith's last game, so if it is, we need to send him out?
No, there wasn't. Was it the Canberra game he got chaired off?
Yeah.
After that was
No chat.
it. Yeah, it was sort of just like,
So Bellyache and Smith probably tried to, I assume, make it not about him. I'd assume.
yeah, I don't know. That's one thing they do really good, is the little things behind the scenes, and I have no doubt there's probably a conversation had between Smithy and Belzer being like, "Don't mate, like just leave it." But
keep it on wraps.
Yeah, whatever they did, it worked.
Bloody oath, it did. Bloody oath. Okay, so the big moment. You get your name called up for Clive Churchill. Were you shocked, or what was the feeling? Did you know? Or?
Well, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Once we finished the game, we were sort of just all around, and I forgot her name, the lady. I apologise, but she came up to me and she said, I shouldn't tell you this, but like,
No way, she told you.
you've won the Clive." And I was like, okay. She's like, "Oh, you need to come with me." But I remember a couple of years ago when Jared got called up for the Clive, or got told he was going to get it, and then Whiten got it.
Yeah.
So I just had in the back of my mind, like, don't get it. Like,
You don't put it in your head.
don't put it in my head.
Yeah.
Like, just. So I just erased it, and I was like, all right, whatever. We walked over as a team, and then they read it out, and I was like, oh wow, like she was actually true, and I couldn't believe it. And you don't play the games for those acknowledgements. But, I didn't expect it. So sort of when she told me, I was like, oh, what? And then I just taught myself, just don't believe it. Like, it's
Don't
that.
get your hopes up.
Then when it happened again, it was just like, oh, like, fuck, really?
Right, it's so hectic.
But, like, I'm happy to show the ring off, but yeah, that medal, I don't know. It's a great achievement, but I've always wanted a ring, and it wasn't really a thought going into the game.
Okay, so it's like it is great, but the ring with the boys and the team, that's what matters.
Yeah, that's probably that was the goal. That's all I ever wanted as a kid. You know what I mean? Like for the Clive Churchill, you got to play one good game.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not doing it justice, but the premierships, 25 rounds plus finals. It's this year moving away from home for us, moving away from where we're used to, and that just meant so much more. But I guess the positive that came out of it was like a few of the boys multing Dusty Martin into me for Clive Churchill.
Oh, really?
So they had a few good returns, but other than that, the ring means the most.
Okay, and then so you get called into the New South Wales squad. What was that? Do you remember the phone call or?
Yeah, I had a chat with Frank Panisi. Would have been in the later rounds of the year, and he just sort of said, "Oh, they're keeping an eye on you. Just let you know. The dates of this, blah 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 blah." And I just thought, okay, if I play good footy, it's gonna probably happen. I don't know if I'll get a game, but to be named in the squad, I'd be pretty happy with. And then it just sort of a few weeks went past, and then he said I was in, but it was the same thing. Like I didn't really believe it. I sort of wasn't made out in the media that I'd made it yet, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just keep playing and whatever. And there's a bit of talk through finals, and I was just like, honestly, like I just want to play, and if I play well, then Freddie can make that decision. But
absolutely.
Right now, like focus was a premiership, and then right after the game, Freddie come up to me and put his arm around me and said, "Mate, see you in camp."
Oh, how good is that?
And I was like,
that's
now I can believe it. You know what I mean? Now I can believe it, and it was good because it probably gave me a bit of an excuse not to bender.
Mad Monday. 100%.
I mean, it didn't apply to Munster and the lot, but
and he went out and friggin' killed it.
Yeah,
joke.
Bloody hell.
Okay, so I mean, is this the best night of your life? You get called into the squad that same night. You win the Clive and you win a premiership. Is that the best night of your life?
Yeah, it was pretty overwhelming at the time, I think, and got a few beers deep in the sheds, and wasn't in a good state that night. But yeah, looking like in that moment, that's probably the best I've ever felt. Like I can't tell you another situation where I've felt like that, had that much joy and excitement and happiness. But yeah, it's so hard to describe, because it's like in that moment, that's when you feel the most. And then sort of reflecting on it after, you're just like, massive achievement, like so cool. But now I just want to win another one to get to that feeling. Like, that's how it
so
is.
true. You're chasing it again, because it's like when you make your debut. Before the debut, you're like, just one game, just one game. After your debut, you're like, I just want to keep here, stay here. Okay, so any memories from the celebrations at all? Any funny memories?
The funny one are just the goggles, and the Sheena got goggles and shirts,
so
and
good.
the cigars made up, and I thought I was so cool having a cigar and like in the shed celebrating like the Lakers, and
so good.
Probably I just wrote myself off that night. I can't bend it to save my life.
No,
it was good, because once we got back, I had to fly back that night.
Oh, okay.
So we got back about 3:30 in the morning, and we just sat in the team room and just sort of like, once again, we're just looking at our rings, like, how cool is this? Like having a few beers, and then sun came up and went back to my room, had a little nap, and then
come back out,
charged on midday the next day. So.
Mate, how good. Okay, so take us back to a young Pappy, born in, grew up in Kellyville.
Yes.
Of Dutch descent.
Yes.
So is that your mum or dad or your grandparents?
Yeah, my opa, so dad's dad.
Yep.
I think he lived there for about 20 years and then came to Australia. So, he's got some good stories of all of that. But I'd love to go back one day and see it all. And still got family there, so it'd be good to go see them. But
are we saying the name properly?
So I say Papenhuyzen. I've always said Papenhuyzen.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my opa changed the spelling so that it would be Papenhuyzen. But I'm pretty sure it used to be like Papenhuyzen or something like that. So I just think it's a lot easier for us to say Papenhuyzen. So
absolutely.
That's the way I've always gone with it. But growing up, it's sort of always had its different pronunciations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes and whatnot. But
the only reason I know how to spell it now is because I've wrote it so much.
Yeah.
And I'd break it up into the Papen and the Hewson. I say Hewson, I should say Housen.
Yeah.
Okay, so grew up Kellyville, educated at Oak Hill College.
Yep.
So did you grow up playing rugby league, or was it more touch footy, or?
Yeah, so I grew up, I was actually pretty lucky. Like, mum and dad gave me the option to play any sport I wanted to. Mum was really big on soccer and wanted me to play soccer, and I think for obvious reasons didn't want me to get hurt. But she used to take me out to one of my cousin's games all the time to watch him and pretty much force me to play soccer. And I had an Arsenal jersey and whatever, and
so bandwagon.
Just didn't really get it. You know what I mean? I didn't really get it, but started playing footy when I was 5. Then just played all the way through pretty much. Played cricket. Did everything I really could, but it always came back to rugby league. So I loved cricket, loved league, but had to come to a decision where they were both on a Saturday. So I went, okay, well, league's getting a bit more serious. They're actually offering money now. Like, I'm going to have to do it. You know what I mean? I'm obliged to do it. And I was pretty lucky in that regard. Like, got to play with some really good mates, and pretty much played footy for fun until... probably Harold Matts, and that's sort of where it kicked off for me. And a few years at the Tigers there. And
so at what point did you realise, was it about when you were 15 years old that you started to realise, I'm excelling here above the pack, or was it a bit later?
No, I don't know. I sort of I'm real weird like this. I sort of had a vision. I had a vision in year 7 or 8. I said I'm always going to make it. I don't know what it was, but I just always seen myself making it. And it's funny because if you don't do the hard work, you're not going to make it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I just seen it, and I guess times where I wasn't the star of a side or whatnot. One actually stands out to me was it was under 15s development with Balmain, and we got sat in a room and they all talk about only one of you could possibly make NRL.
Yeah.
Not will, possibly.
Yeah.
And I just thought, God, I'm not the best player in the room here. Does that mean I won't make it? That's what I was thinking at the time, and ended up being 6 players from that room ended up making the NRL. But you just sort of think am I actually good enough? Is it one every single year? Not so many kids from this area can make it. So how are we all you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It just didn't make sense.
You're doing the
in my
maths,
head
and you're like, is this even possible?
yeah, what do I have to do to do it? And
Yeah.
I was never really the best in each team. I don't think I was the best in each team. I was just like doing it, and I'd have a few good games, and that would keep me going for more. And then it didn't really seem real. I don't know. It was like weird. It didn't really feel real until probably last preseason.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Far out. That's crazy, man.
But you sort of just go through, and when you're in it, it's just like you think it's a natural progression.
Yeah, yeah.
But to actually feel like you might actually play for a little bit, because you hear like average games. What's the average game?
It's like 40 or something like
40
that.
games, you know what I mean? Like, you still have to be pretty good to get past 15. Like,
100%.
You know what I mean? You need lots of stroke of luck, and
Yep.
it didn't really pass me until probably this preseason, and I was like, okay, like I'm first
NRL
grade.
player.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. So was there only Tigers interested when you were coming out of school?
Yeah. So
you made the Australian Schoolboys.
Yep.
2015.
Yeah. So I was, because my school was a union school, I played a bit of that as well. And
Okay.
it was pretty much, I was contracted with Tigers up until maybe a year after I'd graduated. So it was never really like finished school. What do I do now? It was like, I'm with Tigers.
Okay. Yeah.
But there could be interest after. I remember one of our head of sports at Oak Hill was just like, oh mate, like union's a definite sort of path if you wanted to do it. And I don't know, I was just sort of league.
So was their club interested in union?
Nah, not really. It was sort of just chat, just
Okay.
about just being a union player and whatnot. And even when the contract finished with Tigers, it was stay at Tigers or go to Storm.
Okay.
That
all
was
right. So
it.
you only had one option. It was a Storm.
Yeah.
So the Australian Schoolboys, was that for league or was that for union?
Yeah, league.
League. Okay.
League, yeah.
Sweet. So with the Tigers, so did you play under 20s with the Tigers?
Yeah. So I played under 20s. I think I was in the system for 2 years, and just had injuries every single year.
Oh, really?
Same one, hammies and the lot. So it wasn't really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And that was a sort of period where I was like, literally, like I seen it as put on weight time, but looking back, and I'm glad I didn't stack heaps on.
Absolutely,
like it was
bro.
just like it was nearly like something telling me like, no, don't do it. Like just stay. Like you'll get bigger.
Yep.
Don't sacrifice your speed and this for that. But I was really trying. Like I was doing like 7-8 gym sessions a week.
Wow.
Like just trying to bulk on, like drinking protein shakes as much as I could, and I just couldn't put on weight.
Wow.
Just couldn't do it.
So
like,
had you been told that you weren't big enough?
Yeah, plenty of times. Like,
Do you remember anyone that stands out or?
Oh, not really. It was just like
A constant
with
reminder.
S&C's just being like 85 is probably, you're not gonna be able to play under 85. Like 90 is probably a good weight for NRL. 80, anything under 85, mate, you
Got to be heavier.
Which I debuted at 78. So
Yeah, mate. You know what? It's one of my pet peeves. Like when I was coming through, Wayne was okay with weight, but as soon as he left, every coach was like, "You need to get to 90."
Yeah.
I debuted at 82, and it was the best I ever felt.
Yeah.
And like certain people's body types suit certain weights.
Yeah.
And I always used to get so angry because I would say to the coaches and that, like not to the coaches, but to the strength, I'd be like, I'm never going to be stronger than everyone else, but I can be faster than everyone else. So why won't you just let me be fucking fast and good footwork?
And I think more so now, like it would have been so tough when you played, but like more so now there's that approach, like we need these fast people in our game. We need these guys who can, especially with all these rule changes, like manipulate defensive lines with their speed or with their agility. Like it's just what it is. So I think it worked out in my favour that like once I had a couple of good games, I was like, actually, let's not worry about the weight. Let's just appreciate it for what it is. And if he feels comfortable, then he feels comfortable.
Mate, absolutely. And I think also there's more of a push towards this kind of like not natural strength, but body weight strength, like pound for pound kind of stuff. Whereas when I was coming through, like it was literally like you've got to get to 90, you've got to get to 90, and that's when I started like having hammy problems and like just all the bullshit. So initially you were just doing everything you could to put on weight, and it just wouldn't happen for you.
Yeah, well, it's sort of funny like how it all builds up. Like I remember playing in the Paracomp when I was a kid. I'd verse like kids that were 3 times the size of me, you know what I mean? And I think just by doing that, it made you a little bit tougher. And then going into a Storm system where Nelson's running at your full pelt in preseason, you're going to be tougher from that. I don't think weights, like you said, like I don't think it's that much of an issue. It's just about being able to deal with it. Like you're going to cop hits. People are going to target you because you're small. But at the end of the day, you bounce back from that. That's all you need to do.
Absolutely.
Like,
and also, like, you've just got to realise that, yes, you're not going to pick some bloke up and put him in the third row, but what you can bring is electrifying pace, length of the field, breaking the line. And I think clubs are getting much better at understanding that certain body types suit certain people. Yeah. Okay, so those first 2 years you're injured all the time, and was Tigers just like, did they have a contract for you or not really?
Yeah, they did. They did. They pretty much matched what Storm did. And I just remember thinking, like, if I could have chosen any single club after knowing what sort of goes on at what clubs, I would have chosen the Storm over 15 other clubs. Okay. So to have Tigers or Storm come to me, it was like, well, it's not really working for me here. Yep. Teddy's here. I know I won't play first grade next year. Probably won't play it in 2 years. But I know that I'll be the player I want if I go down there. Like, they're going to make me work hard. I'm not going to have any distractions. Like, it would just all seem like the perfect opportunity. It felt like they all just fell in front of me to go, you got to go. And mum and dad were real big on that. They just said, you won't get this opportunity again. Like, I think I was 18 at the time, and they're just like, you'd be silly not to start there. At least if you start there, you're either going to find out if you're good enough or if you're not. And
it's so true. At the Storm, you're going to find out if you're good enough to play in a role. If you're not good enough there, you're clearly either not training hard or you're just not good enough, kind of thing. Okay, so at this point, you hadn't trained with the first grade squad yet. You'd only been on 20s. Yep. So you sign, you go down there. Did you go into the first grade squad and the extended squad or not? Not yet.
Down in Melbourne.
Yep.
Yeah, so I went straight into the squad. So it was a pretty cool experience. Like,
what was that like?
I was top 30 straight away.
Wow.
Obviously knew I wasn't going to get a game, but you just walk into the lockers and you just like see all these names on there. And I just remember my first day walking in there, just like hearing Chambers in the physio room. Like, never met him before, but I could identify the voice because I'd watched rugby league, heard him being interviewed before and whatnot. And I was like, God, he's a grub. Like, I've heard about him, sort of thing. And then he walked like, I think I just poked my nose in, and he like stuck his head around the corner, and he was getting treatment. He hopped off the table and like walked around and said, "Hey mate, like, Will, like, how you going?" And I was like, like when you're just getting like treated, like, he's like, no, like, and it just, that whole thing was between all the senior players. Like, they'd come up, say hello, introduce themselves, and just straight away you knew they wanted to help you. You knew that the common goal was a premiership, and they were going to help you, or. But there was also that bit, you had to build that respect as well.
Had to earn their respect
and that was the whole training. That was the whole pre-season, army camp, all of that. That's where it's like, if I do that and do well at that, train really well, they'll want to be friends with me, you know what I mean? Like, let's do that right first. But to get them shaking hands and introducing themselves, I was like, all right, like that respect's there straight away, but like there's another level to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They won't give it away too much, but it's like, hey mate, like,
you've got a chance here.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a chance, but it's yours whether you take it or not. Yep. And it's crazy to think, like, Will Chambers was one of the most competitive players on the field. And it's just like, for him to come up to you, that means so much as a young player, because you're like, oh, shit. Like, you're actually taking the time. Like, usually it's the young player that's supposed to go up and be like, oh, hey, mate, how you going? And you're real nervous about it. You don't know what to say. And so you felt from the get-go, every single senior player to all the younger boys was like, we want to make you the best player you can be.
Yeah, it just like... But it made you know that you've got to work hard for what you get. Like, they're not going to... It's weird. Like, it's sort of like an initiation. Like, I didn't really feel until... Even the back in the last year, like, there was still that little bit I needed to do for them to go, okay, like, he can play first grade, you know what I mean? But, like, there's just that little feeling that you got to be able to... You just got to be tough. You got to show up every week. Like, speak your mind. If you think you can do something to improve the side, say it. Like, just those little things. And that's where this year I was like, I feel really comfortable. I feel really good, really well respected. And it just made my job a lot easier.
And so do you remember, was there any session or was it the army camp, or did you actually have to work 2 weeks in a job? What was that like for you?
Yeah, mine was different because I didn't have a white card, so I couldn't actually go out on a site.
Oh, okay, yep.
So what we had instead, I thought it was a win. What we had instead was... So one of the guys, who's obviously friends of the club, used to run his plumbing business out of his garage. And like, think of plumbing tools and whatnot and pipes and everything. It's not going to be a small garage. So we rock up thinking, oh, like, we'll clear this out in a week. Like, it'll be sweet. Literally took us 2 weeks like 2 weeks to the last hour for us to go, we've done it. Like
Cleared the whole
garage. Garage was like 75, 100 meters long.
Fuck.
Like just no room to move. Like the first week we opened up, probably took all this stuff out onto his truck, and then there was probably only a normal garage size, like one car could fit in.
Oh.
By the end of it, you could have parked like 4 or 5 limos in. Like
Far
we're
out.
carrying like 40 ladders from one end of the garage to the other with these like copper pipes. It's like, it just, I don't know. And it was, we didn't see daylight, like, because it was literally, you'd take it out, walk to the front, back in. You'd spend like 80% of the day in the garage, or dusty garage, like. And I'm just like, I was with Lachlan Timms, and he's like a pretty strong guy, and I was like definitely not holding up to what he was doing. Like he was like carrying stuff, and I was like,
you're like 78 kilos.
It's this. I'm meant to put on weight, and I'm just dwindling away, not eating all day, and getting pumped. But it was looking back on it, it was actually really, really hard, and like I guess it makes you appreciate what tradies and stuff do, because like I probably had it easy compared to what a normal tradie does every day in, day out. But in that moment, I was like, I just want to play footy. But I think the time, what got me most was waking up before that and having to train.
Oh, yeah, the weights
going
in the
and doing it, and then coming back. And so you'd be up at like 4:30 for a 5 o'clock start, 5 till 6 work site, back at 3 for a massive field session. You wouldn't get out of the club till 8:30. So like,
tough as, bro.
Yeah, it was real tough, but I don't want to do it again. I hope they don't make us do it again.
So what about army camps? Is there? Did you go on one of them? How many days was it?
Went on one, 2 nights, 3 days. So that, I don't think I've ever done anything as hard in my life as that. Like that was unbelievable, and probably story that stands out's on like the last night you do this. Walk around this guy's property. It's like this big farm, sort of goes up a main road and whatnot. And you get your big backpacks. You start when it's daytime, and you dangle a little glow stick off the back of it. Yeah. So you walk, you start in the day, and by like I'd say halfway, I wasn't really sure, starts to get dark. So you're just like following all these bags. Like you can't talk to anyone. You can't say a word. It's just you're following this glow stick in front of you.
Just doing laps?
Laps. They don't tell you how many you're doing. Every time you go past, you say your number. You're not allowed to call names. You say your number. So I was orange 1.
Yeah.
Orange 1. Keep doing your laps. Oh. Orange 1. Keep doing your laps. Would have been, my guess is probably 4.5 hours just doing that. Just going around in circles, like, and you start to trip out because you're seeing this glow stick like this, and that's all you're following. Yeah. So you're just like seeing like Christmas trees out of glow sticks.
It's like hypnotic even. Like,
I couldn't imagine ever doing it again. And like you're just walking, and it's like, they don't say it's a race, but it's like, you go pretty hard. Like you're charging. You're
it's not just a cruise.
You're not dawdling. You're sort of charging. Like one of the guys ended up running.
Oh, really?
Like, just to try, because he had a few rough days leading into it. Like he wasn't too good, but they gave him a bit of a rev up. And he's just like, I'm going to come out and
he ran
brain this, and pretty much ran it. But like, so we do that, and then you just go like your mind's everywhere. But then they get you on this bus and drive you off into this bush. And I remember as soon as we got on the bus, it started pissing down. Like I was like, fuck. And you hear about this infamous, we stand out in the bush, and you're on guard for the whole night, pretty much. So I reckon, and they mess with the bus time, so you don't actually know what time it is. So we got on the bus, and it said 11:30. Yeah. But probably 9:30, I reckon.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And you stand out there, they walk you along, every 200 meters you get dropped off. So individuals dropped off around. You got to stand up like the whole time. Can't speak to anyone. And if you sit, like, they walk around and try to get you off guard. Like some people would like try have a nap, but you have to stand up. You can't even sit down. And if if you hear something or see something, you got to like yell out this word. And what was it? Halt who goes here or something like that. Mate, I forgot the word after 10 minutes.
Really?
I was that so brain fucked. I was just like, what do I say? And I was like, end up just being like, who's that? Like, you know what I mean? Just scream at the top of my lungs. If you said it, like, they'd grill you. Like, they'd be like, what did you say? Like, why are you saying that? And I'm like, oh no, like, I'm only 10 minutes in, you know what I mean? And you're starving, it's pissing down. And
so you're standing there in the
just standing
rain.
there, I had to make it worse, I had one of those little poncho things on. So every time I like pitter pattered, I'd be like, You know what I mean? Like real on edge.
So your head's just frazzled.
And then like you'd spin around, and you need to see like clowns juggling balls out of trees, and I'm like, what? Like this is not. I don't know. Like you just can't think. Like I would never thought I'd be in that state.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm just like sitting there like hallucinating. Like,
and this is after the 4.5 hours of just walking in circles.
And you just got to stand still.
Yeah.
Got to stand still. Like just hallucinating, just thinking, how long am I going to be here for?
Yeah. And this is also this is the second night too, so you've already had no sleep the night before.
No sleep, so you don't sleep for the whole time. So I remember just standing there and being like, oh god, like when's this gonna end? And I ended up just like there was just a snap, like a split second where I just went like bang, and I hit the deck.
No way.
So I'd fallen asleep standing up.
Oh my god.
Hit the deck in a puddle, and I was like, oh. Sort of got me through another hour, just being like, all right, whatever. Then the lightning came.
Oh my god.
So I was always taught when lightning comes, like lay on the ground, make yourself as flat as possible because like, it was bad. It was bad. Like it was lighting up the sky. It looked like daytime sort of thing. Yeah. And I just like I remember laying on the ground and I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to get in trouble. So I'd like stood up, but I was shitting myself. Like I hate lightning. Yeah. I hate lightning. And anyways, that's all passed. Like they ended up coming past. It was light when they picked us up. It would have been like 7:30.
No
I reckon.
way. So it's the next day now.
Next day.
So you're on your
last
third
day. Third day. We we get on a bus, get told we're going somewhere. On the bus ride, we get given a booklet, and you got to like they ask you a question, you got to write like your thoughts so you don't fall asleep on the bus. I remember sort of like I think they asked like, what do you think it is to be a Storm player? So you end up like writing it down and like dazing off, and then sort of coming to and like you got a line through your page, and you're just like,
oh fuck. Anyway,
like I just remember we got to the next site, and I was like to Harry Grant, I was like, mate, like how tough was that thing? Like how tough was that activity? He's like, what? Like standing out in the bush? And I was like, no. Like when we just had to get off the bus and move that log off the road, that tree off the road. He goes, hey? I said,
oh no.
Like we got off the bus and moved the tree off the road. He goes, no, we didn't.
Wow. So you were hallucinating
the whole bus ride.
What?
The whole bus ride. Like I'd either fallen asleep and just been like tripping out and like just come to when we got to the place. Like he must have woken me up or whatnot.
What the fuck?
We were getting our feet strapped, like ready for this next activity. And I remember having that conversation being like, I think even one of the trainers was like, they weren't meant to really talk to us, but he's like, like, are you sweet? Like sort of thing.
So you reckon you were concussed from falling over?
Nah, I just reckon I was like...
So you fell asleep the whole bus ride?
Yeah.
You thought that
I don't remember the bus ride. I thought we'd gone... I remember getting on the bus, and then I thought we'd done an activity in that time.
Oh, my God. Far out.
So I was like, that's as low as you can get, I think. Like, as
fully
fatigued as I could ever be.
Yeah.
And that's just what built up to that moment.
Man, far out. So was anyone else struggling that much? Do you know? Or not really?
Yeah, there's some funny stories, man. Like there's just every year, like when everyone comes back, you're like, oh, what happened? Like who was good, who was bad, what happened? And, but yeah, that was one that really stands out to me because I'd never ever in my life thought I'd like hallucinate or do anything like that. But
Absolutely.
Here I was.
And also the good thing in a way with those camps is I'm sure now whenever things get tough on the footy field, you go, this is nothing compared to that camp.
Yeah. Don't want to do that camp ever again. Like, yeah, it was. And it was probably that year when I was playing Q Cup the whole year, I was like, God, like at least I'm not on that camp, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm out here like playing footy, like it's for a reserve grade side, but not sleeping for 3 days.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay, so this is 2018, is it? Or
yep, 2018. Yeah.
So 2018, you were basically behind. Slater retired 17 or 18? 18. So you were basically behind Slater, Drinkwater, Hughes, and then it was you pretty much?
Yeah.
Essentially. And so, like, what was the headspace in the sense of, like, were you just like, look, I'm just going to keep working, and eventually I'll get the crack? Or was there ever a moment where you're like, fuck, I'm way down the pecking order here? Yeah,
it sort of felt like there was that overhanging thing that Bill was going to retire, and there was a pick out of 3 of us. So I remember asking questions, being like, what do I need to do, and all this sort of stuff. But it only really got to the preseason where I was like, oh, hang on, I'm third stringy, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I thought I'd done all right. Like, I thought I'd ask the questions I need to. I thought I'd train really hard, and it was probably hard to take at the time. I remember sitting with my manager being like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like I'm third string, and it's not really enjoying it. Like I feel like not getting any sort of compliments or praise. And now I look back at it, I'm like, it was probably a test.
Absolutely.
Probably a test.
Spit your dummy.
See if I'd spit my dummy.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad at the time, like I had good support around me to be like, mate, you just got to stay down there. Like even if you don't play first grade, you're going to be a better player and down the track and what you want to be. And it ended up just sticking around, and unfortunately got injured in a trial game, and then it suddenly became Hughesy the fullback, and I was like, might get a game during the year, but then again I was like, he doesn't play for Queensland and New South Wales, so when will I get a chance? And then that just sort of happened real quickly. Like,
so do you remember your debut?
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
I remember I think it was like a Wednesday. We played on the Sunday. Wednesday, Craig come up to me. Oh, there's been a bit of talk a few weeks before just about like, oh mate, there's like looking for a 17. First week Tommy Eisenhuth played. He broke his larynx.
Oh fuck! Oh my god!
Then it was like, oh, could this be the week?
Yep.
Maz played 17, I think that week. Marion Seve. Then I think he played the following week, and I was like, oh, like he's pretty much locked it down now. You know what I mean? And then that week, Craig come up to me and goes, oh mate, like I know we've been speaking about it, but I think we're going to give you a crack this week. We'll try to get you in this week. And I was like, what? And I think it might have been because one of our centres were injured, and Maz had to move to the centres. And then, like we talk about, like little strokes of luck you need, and that's what I got. And I just remember thinking, like, oh God, like got to call mum and dad, like how good's this? But he was like, mate, he likes to sort of play games with team lists and whatnot. Yeah. So he was like to me, mate, you can tell your parents, but try, like even some of the boys, like just keep it on the down low. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to get out and whatnot. But we're standing in the middle of the training paddock, and like he's just told me, I'm like got a grin from ear to ear, like how good's this?
Why are you so happy? Well, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
And I remember Cooper John's looking over at me. He goes like, and I was like, oh. I was like, I'm in.
I said don't tell any of the boys first. Just, like you're like,
I couldn't help it. I was like
doing these ones. I'm in, boys.
He still says, he goes like, it's probably the happiest debutant I've ever seen at the club.
Really?
So, like,
Billy Ake said that?
Yeah. So that's pretty good to hear from him. But I just remember feeling real stoked, and then like contacting mum and dad, and I think probably the whole week of preparation went out the window because I was like, who can I get down here? You know what I mean? It was probably I'd say my second worst game I ever played. But
really, you reckon?
Yeah.
Wow. Walk us through it. What happened? Like,
I don't know. Just like we're versing the Bulldogs. No disrespect, but like I'd sort of come on and had a good run, and then they put a crossfield kick up, and I went to go up for it, and like pretty sure it was like Remus Smith, like just like bumped me out of the way like I was nothing, and like threw it, and they scored, and they nearly won the game. Oh wow! So I was like, oh, like dodge a bullet there. Then he gave me an opportunity a week later. Played okay. Then I think I got another one and didn't get on. I think it was like Anzac Day against the Warriors. Didn't get on. Then I think we versed the Roosters, that Latrell field goal. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And this is probably my worst game of my whole career. I think match was level. I took a run. We were like 12 metres out, went to play the ball and dropped it. Field goal would have sealed the deal. Like, there was not long left at all. Yeah, and I just remember after that, like just copying abuse, like just like no tomorrow, like... And I thought, God, like this is...
Like from the public?
Yeah, from the public, and just like, kill yourself, you dog. Like, oh,
no way. Like people were messaging that to you.
I was like, oh shit, like is this what it's all about, sort of thing. And I just remember being like, fuck, like my next round's just got to be good. I've got to be good, like, and so that's how it all come about.
No way. It's crazy to think that your start of your career, NRL career, wasn't incredible.
Yeah.
Did you ever think in those 4 games, fuck, maybe I'm not up to it. Maybe I'm not ready for NRL yet? Yeah,
well, it sort of took me... I deleted a few like social media apps and just sort of said just spend a bit of time away from it. Because I don't know, I knew that it was like that, but I didn't know like a mistake would sort of do it. I thought like maybe if I played a few bad games, like fair enough.
Then they would like have a go at
slash at me. But I thought like they just came at me straight away, and I was like, oh God. And like, it's funny at the time, I screenshotted everything.
Yep.
Or most things, and I was like, I'm going to use that as motivation. And then we versed the Chooks, and I think we beat them. Well, it was one of those games, and like I just remember, like I just thought in the back of my head, this Chooks fan that gave me abuse. Like when I looked at the message, and I was like, yeah, gotcha. You know what I mean? Gotcha. Done. Yeah. So I guess then I just sort of spun it to motivation, and I think I spoke about it earlier this year. I sort of come out and said, like, it's what happens, like, people cop abuse, like, much worse than I did at that time. But the media was sort of like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, people say that stuff. I'm
All
like,
the time,
every day. Like,
yeah.
there's people who get it worse than me. Like, I'm probably a bad example because I didn't really cop it that much. But, and there was a bit of chat about it. And then I'm glad I did speak about it because there's guys that would cop it. I remember Chambers talking about it. Like, because he's got that personality and, like, a bit of a grub on the field. Oh, the messages he'd get and, like, racial slurs and whatnot. Like, it's just... I remember looking at it just being like, that's unbelievable. Like, you just don't think that
people like that exist.
But they do. And that's why I just spoke about it earlier this year, just being like, it does happen. And everyone was so shocked about it. But I guess it's...
Mate, I think it's like one of those things where a lot of things footy players go through that you don't actually hear about because, like, we don't want to be considered, like, sulking or whinging, and we actually know we're lucky. Because, like, when we do speak out about it, there's a huge portion of people like, what are you sulking for? And it's like, I'm not sulking. Like, I'm just expressing what happens in my life.
There's that whole thing with it, like, we sign up to it. Like, we sign up to it, but there's a line. Like, there's a line that you can cross.
We sign up to critique, not abuse.
Yeah. And, like, bring family members into, like, it just doesn't sit well. Like, it's probably something I'm pretty passionate about now. It's just like, because I know I'm not the worst of it, and I know there's a lot more that are worse off. I'm just like, you need to speak up, like,
absolutely,
which is hard for people sometimes because it's like, just creates more of a target. But
exactly. Was there anything that Will said to you and how to deal with it at all, or any advice you got from anyone?
I remember after I did that interview, Frank came up to me and said, mate, like, anything, CEO messaged me, mate, like, so glad you spoke out about it. Like, if you need anything or if you need us to send something, like, let us know. And like, straight away, like, the support from everyone was like, okay, like, it's good that I sort of made it a bit aware now because people are coming to make it a bit better or to call people out on these issues. And you see it on social media these days. Like, you see people call people out on it. I'm like, that's the conversation that just needed to be had. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's probably the most encouraging thing that come out of it was, like, actually people talking about it now. And I guess if it gives someone second guessing to actually do it, then that's a win for us. Like,
absolutely.
And I think I've seen Brandon call out a few people, Brandon Smith call out a few people a couple of times, just being like, mate, that's not on.
100%.
And it's funny how quick they backflip
Absolutely.
and try to be your best mate. And it's like, how could you be that vulgar to say something?
Yeah.
But then flip and pretend like, just don't say it at all. You know what I mean?
Just honestly just want attention. So I think also it's really important to educate young footy players that, you know, when it's your time and your space and you need to protect that. So, like, you know, it's like, even I struggle with sometimes, like, and it might not even be abuse, but it's like people just messaging me, and like sometimes it's hard. I feel guilty because I'm not answering their messages, but it's more like it tears you apart because you're getting so many messages. And so, I think a lot of young men and women in the game need to understand that, like, you know, you don't have to open that message. You don't have to answer every person that messages you. Like, yes, it is good to interact with fans, but also you're a human being and your mental health comes first. And I think, you know, and putting things in protection, like, just block. If anyone carries on, block straight away. Just block them. Don't even give them the chance of doing it again. It's kind of like, who made the joke about it? But it was like, it was Ricky Gervais. He was kind of like, you know, I never get upset about people or give them time on the internet because, like, if I'm walking down the street and a bloke covered in shit jumps out of a trash can and abuses me, am I going to let that affect my day?
Yeah, exactly.
Just like online, like, some fucking idiot is abusing me online. Like, block, see you later.
Yeah,
like,
that's it. It's a good way to look at it. Like, it just don't give them anything. I think that's one other thing. Like, just don't add fuel to the fire. Like, just, you know, like I said, just block them. Move on with it. Report, bang, done. Yeah, you're better than that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's good, very, very good you spoke out because it's a problem that not only affects footy players but society in general, especially like high school kids. I don't know how they do it.
And
I'm so scared to have a kid.
They're only getting worse too by the looks of things. Like, pretty much your whole life's on there. Like, it's just so...
It's so positive and negative, you know? We just got to find that balance, I reckon. Okay, so when did you start? So was it when you beat the Roosters that you started playing really well, or when did you start really putting together some footy where you were, like, getting confident in? Because there was a period, like, last year where you put together some fucking great games.
Yeah, I don't even think it was probably last year. I was sort of riding that wave and didn't really feel like an established fullback. Like, yeah, there was talk of like potential, but I don't know. I just always wanted to be better than that. I always wanted to be like a good player for 10 years. Like, that's always the goal sort of thing. So I think after that year and the way we sort of went out, I was like, no, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not even close. Like, we lost in a prelim. I can't pass. Like, there was all that sort of self-talk.
Wow.
But that sort of just motivated me into next preseason. It was like, this is how we went out last year. If I was able to put a few passes together or do this or do that, is a different result. And then, just worked really hard on that sort of stuff and tried to add different things to my game. And
so you weren't happy with your 2019 season?
Nah, not. I sort of felt like it'd been a bit of a shortcut because, like, I was being talking about it as a good fullback, but, mate, I played 10 games. Like, I played 10 games in the ruck and 10 games at fullback. Like, I still knew that teams would try to figure me out. And that's what I had in the back of my head. Like, I couldn't just do what I did last year. Like, I played okay, but I can't just be that player again. I got to add things. I got to stay on top of my game because people are always going to try to chase you down or find a weakness. So I don't know. I just had this, especially like the second year syndrome chat, and I was like, I just don't want to be that person. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm going to go out there and just do everything I can not to be that person. And I guess it just ties into my goal of being a 10-year player. Like, be a really good player for 10 years. Every year you're going to have to get better. You can't just stop on one good year, and that's just how I looked at it. Yeah.
And what has been your performance where you're like, that's the best I've ever played? Do you remember a game that you've been like, that's my best game?
I don't know. There's not one that really stands out. I think like tough wins, probably that Roosters one this year. That was just tough. Like, we were up, we were down, had to kick a field goal to level the game.
Yep.
Went out extra time.
You kicked the field goal, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Fuck, I forgot about that. What was that? Because Kiri... Okay, so that game at Suncorp, Kiri kicks a field goal. Walk us through what happened. Like, because I didn't even expect you to get the ball.
Yeah. I pride myself on field goals. Like, every day at training, I just get a ball and kick it over. And from anywhere on the field. And I just remember when Kez kicked it, I was like, this is what you dream of, like, just being able to do this sort of stuff. And I went up to Smithy and said, if you get a chance, I'm on. And then when we got the ball back off the kickoff, and he sort of looked at me and I looked at him and then took a few more tackles in and then passed it back to me, and I just went, I've hit it from here before. Like, just try to do it now. I remember hitting it and being like, oh no, it started like fading. I was like, oh, it's going to, like, I thought it was going to miss. And it started fading, and then it just sort of straightened up and went through, and I was like, this is unreal. Like, how good, we still got a chance. And then, just extra time when Dale got that penalty, and it was just like,
mate, that field goal. I was at Suncorp, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's where that's probably the toughest win where I've been like, actually, I played okay in that game. And then, obviously, the Magic round against Para was probably the funnest game I've ever played.
Yeah,
that
you
was
put like fucking 50 on them or something like that?
Yeah, it was 64-10 or something like that.
Holy
64-4.
shit.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
You don't think that can happen in the NRL, but we were just on that day, and then Siva got put to the bin. Hughesy got knocked out, so I actually went on at fullback.
Yeah, okay.
So it was like, it just all happened, and Para's the club that sort of snubbed me when I was younger, so it was like...
Also, what happened with Para?
Yeah, because I played in the Para comp. I tried out for Harold Matts and stuff and didn't really get a look in, but and that's why I went over to Balmain. Like, they just sort of didn't really see anything in me, and it was probably too little. Like, that's what they said, and I think that's what...
Oh, they said you were too little?
Yeah, there was a... So I played Para Touch as well, and there was one of the dads who was a selector or a mate of a selector, and he just said, mate, that's just it. Like, I want them to sign you, but the guys in charge, you're just too small. Like,
far out.
I was like, all right. Like, really enjoying touch footy at the time as well. I was just like, oh, cool. Like, whatever.
Okay.
Play union, had a year off league, played union at school, played touch, like, really enjoyed it. And then mates from touch got me back in the league.
No way.
So I probably, I don't even know if I would have gone back if I didn't play touch. Like,
wow. That's okay. So you were really disheartened, like, when they said you're too small. It's like, all right, well, I can't play footy then.
Yeah, whatever. I'll just enjoy touch footy and whatnot, and just go down a different path and be a teacher.
Be a teacher. What was the conversation from your friends that got you back into rugby league?
Just like, it's just a fun as side. Like, we got a good coach. Like, just come. Like, it'll be real good fun. And I was like, oh, it's sweet.
And this is at Balmain, was it?
Dundas Shamrocks.
Okay.
Which fall under Balmain.
Okay.
So, it's confusing because Dundas is literally next door to Para.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
But that was with like Adam Dewey. Like he was in that team, and Adam Risk. Like we just had a really good side, and just really enjoyed it. Like we'd always come up against, like, we played an inner city comp, which was real cool. Like we versed like teams from like the eastern suburbs. Versus like Lockie Lamb, played for Clavelli.
Oh, okay.
He was like cracker. He was like one of their best players. And then like mascot, we'd verse Cam Murray and Emre Gula.
Yeah.
Like, so you'd just be in this competition where like you'd verse really good teams, but I was having really fun. Like really good coach. Training was fun. Like Steve Hansen actually was our coach. He used to play for Norths.
Yeah.
Absolute legend. And yeah, he was just really good. Had a really good group of mates, and we just went like, it's like one of those teams that you just enjoy going to, like enjoy the company. Lost in a prelim the first year, won the grand final the next year.
No way. How
like
old were you
underdogs?
when you won the grand final?
Would have been 14, I reckon.
Okay.
15, 14. Yeah, probably 14, I think. And I was just like, how good is this? Like, we were the underdogs. Like, we'd beaten Mascot. Yeah. Like, it was so cool. We played the grand final at Leichhardt Oval.
Oh, how good's that?
It was cracker. And then yeah, that's when I was like, well, this core group that I've been playing with got picked for Balmain development strides. And I was like, oh, cool. I'll go along and do that as well. Because like, I was having great fun. Then pretty much that core group got picked in Harold Matts and SG Ball. And it was just like, didn't really have to think about footy. It was just real fun, like going through. And then that's when 20s hit and I had a few injuries. And I was like, a lot of that core group had gone or, like, it
not
just,
to do a club or quit or whatever.
Yeah, so.
Wow, that's crazy. So that must have really stung you, the Para were like nut too small.
Yeah.
Like you're only 13 or something at this stage, or 14 years old. Like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's great. So did you make any of the Australian sides for touch in that?
Yeah, I played Trans-Tasman when I was 15.
Okay.
With Kalen, actually.
Kalen?
Yeah.
Is he as good at touch as he is at footy?
Yeah, weapon. Absolute weapon. I remember a tournament we had before that. I played for New South Wales and he played for Queensland, and bloody Brimo was in that side as well, and they were just the weapons. Like,
I've heard Brimo was a gun.
Oh, absolute weapon. Like, just freak touch footy players. Like, if it was professional, they'd be the best in the game.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Wow.
And they were only 15, and they were just tearing us apart. And then
no way.
Sort of going into the Aussie stuff and being with KP, I was like, oh, he's actually like a cool dude. And we billeted him for a couple of weeks. And
he stayed at your place?
Yeah, he stayed at my place. So
no way.
Yeah, got to know him there, and then just seeing him like progress into first grade and like be the player he is, I was like, that's so cool. Like, there's actually a pathway.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Kalen, did you always, was he the man? Like, do you know what I mean? You know, there's the man in your grade or your age or whatever. Could you always see him being like the superstar that he was?
Yeah, he was always going to be a star. Like, there's some I probably had coming through like junior footy that didn't go on, but like once I heard about Kalen, the kid with the headgear, you just, you'd watch him at carnivals and be like, wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. Probably the only other one that goes close, and I knew that we were going to make it, was probably Nick Kotrick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a beast, man.
Big. Like, he was a man-child when he was a kid, like playing for ACT and just tearing up like Palmer, Chip and Chase, like
far out.
Just a freak.
The big dog. I've heard Brimo was incredible coming through. He played really well at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Okay, so Para. Okay, that game against Para. At what point? So did Bellyache come to you and say that Hughes is going to be the 7 and we want you to be 1, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so I think we might have been a bit of trouble with our attack. Like, our defence was on that year. Like, I think we set a record for, I think we lost 4 games, but the combined total was 8 points.
Wow.
Of all 4 games. So our defence was on, but we were just trying to find something in attack. And I think he just decided that he'd move Hughesy to the halves, and then because I'd been playing right off the bench, he's like, remember him saying a couple of weeks before, mate, I'll give you an opportunity. Like, we've just got to wait. Like, everyone's playing good footy. And I was like, mate, like, I'm happy to be in the 17. Like, don't stress about it. And then a couple of weeks later, it eventuated, and he just said, moving Hughesy to half, you're going to go at fullback. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, cool.
How good's that?
And then, it was all a bit of a blur. Like, I felt like I just had a job to do. It was really simple. Didn't think about my footy too much. It was more like, just, I'm part of the side, just do my job. And that's where sort of in that next off season, it was like finding my role as a player and moving on and developing and actually understanding the game more. And that's when I sort of took it to a new level.
What's something that, is there a moment with Bellyache or something you've seen him do that you're like, that's why he's the GOAT? Or do you, I mean, I assume you think he's the GOAT coach.
Yeah.
A moment or a story.
Yeah, I think just seeing him, he's the first person you see when you rock up to training. He's in the gym, like on the bike or doing something in the gym. And like, if your coach is dedicated to doing that, like every single day and being the last to leave, just like sets that whole vibe through the club. And that's what I saw straight away. Like, you walk out, like when I was doing the work program, when I'm walking at 8:30 at night, he's in his office, like with his glasses on, doing video. Like,
far out.
Even conversations with him, like he'll watch a game 3 or 4 times before we verse that team. Like, just like the dedication he has to the game, and like he's got a saying, like, if you want to be successful at it, like you just got to put everything into it. Like, you just don't leave any stone unturned. Like, you just got to put everything into it. Otherwise, how can you say you tried? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just him. Like,
that's him.
Yeah.
He's always a first in, last out.
First in, last out, hardest worker.
Yep.
You know he does it. He just... Yeah.
What about Cam Smith? What have you learnt from him the most, you reckon?
He's very similar. Like, training, first in, last out.
Yeah. It's a common thread, eh?
Oh, it is. And just like works so hard, like, but shares it with everyone. Like, he's not afraid to tell you what he looks for in opposition. Like he just is an open book. Like, he's not trying to protect his reputation as the best in the game. He's genuinely trying to make everyone else the best in the game.
Yeah,
and that's the way like it comes across. And even the way like he interacts with like mum and dad or like my partner, like just literally like they've been mates for years. Like could chat to anyone on the street, like any single person. And so it just translated into his footy. Like, he just cares. Like, you know he cares. You know he wants the best out of you. But yeah, like when you come up against him in a drill, like he's ultra competitive and like it's just everything I can't give him a bigger rap, to be honest.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Who's the biggest pest in the squad?
There's probably a few contenders. Like, I'd probably say Munster, just because he always just niggles you at you somehow.
He's always niggling.
And because he's so tinny, like things just happen for him. Like, even on the punt and stuff like that, he just wins all the time, and then bloody
the
hell,
ball just bounces his way in life and on the field.
Yeah, and being a New South Welshman, that wasn't very good for us this year.
Were you sitting back going, "Fuck, I've never seen a bloke play this good"?
Well, that's what I got out of Origin. Like, great experience and like meeting all the boys and that. But actually watching the Storm players, I'm like, God, we've got a good side for next year. Like,
absolutely.
Like, Felice played out of his skin, Joshy played out of his skin,
Harry
Munster, Harry, Christian Welch.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I just I was like, I'm pretty lucky to be where I am. Like, that's just how I looked at it. And
absolutely.
I didn't talk to him after the game. I was pretty filthy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sent Munster a message later and just congratulated him because he's a star.
He's a gun, absolute gun. Ask all the boys his favourite rapper of all time.
Rapper? Oh, God.
Favourite musician of all time.
Musician. Oh, this is a tough one because, like, I was a big like Green Day fan because
Green Day.
My old man used to just like pump it in the car and like it's just what I grew up listening to. But best rapper, I don't know. I really like Eminem as long as like it's probably like a white boy rapper, but like play on.
He was good. He's so good. Favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, Draft Day.
Draft Day. That's a great movie.
Cracker.
Is that Michael Keating? What's his name? The main actor.
I'm shocking with actors.
Yeah. Fuck. Anyway, he's in The Bodyguard or something, I think, maybe. Anyway, if everything happens perfectly in the next 12 months, what are you doing? Where are you? What's going on? Actually, when did you resign?
Last year, so I'm off in the 2022.
2022, okay. If everything happens perfect, what are you doing in 12 months' time?
Another premiership would be unreal.
That'd be great.
I know it's a lot to ask for, but probably a premiership, just injury-free, enjoying life and playing a bit of golf.
Playing a bit of golf. You love golf?
Love golf.
Who's the best golf player in Storm?
Probably the GOAT, actually. Smithy's.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is he
good at everything.
Oh, bro. What's he doing? Fuck that guy. He's too good. He's too good. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on, brother. Really do appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you continue to develop your game because it's been an incredible ride.
Yeah.
Incredible ride.
Thanks for having me on.
Boom.